Hello, everybody, and this is Jeremy Bruce from Saga Media, your host today. And on this quick segment, we are going to get into this day in history, February 28th. As 31 years ago, on February 20th, 1993, there was a standoff between federal agents and local law enforcement and the Branch Davidian church members and their leader, David Koresh, in Waco, Texas. If you remember, if you don't, we'll recap. On February 20th, 1993, the ATF was serving a warrant for weapons violations, alleged illegal weapons violations to the Branch Davidian church complex in Waco, Texas, and their leader, David Koresh. They had suspected due to about a year earlier in 1992 that the Branch Davidian members were purchasing legal weapons and transporting illegal weapons and explosives due to a mailman whistleblower who had told him he thought he was delivering this. I'm not sure that there was any evidence that was ever proven to the public or presented, but that was the case. Previously, they had been investigated, I believe, by the FBI and some local authorities as well for child abuse of adults towards, sexual misconduct towards some of the children that were living in the complex, but that became to known as untrue. And so on February 28th, the ATF with local law enforcement went to serve a warrant, but the Branch Davidians were tipped off by a mailman who happened to be one of their members. And that mailman was stopped by a local news crew who wanted to go to they asked for, do you know where the Branch Davidians church complex is? There's going to be a standoff here. We got word that the ATF is going there with a lot of fully armored men and vehicles and a whole team to serve a warrant. And so that mailman then tipped the Branch Davidian members off. They were able to arm themselves, get prepared to defend themselves and their complex. And when the ATF showed up and tried to serve that warrant and get into the house, a shootout then began. Four ATF agents were killed, shot and killed, and six, I believe, 10 total between the two parties. Six Branch Davidian members were killed as well during the shootout. It was pretty violent. It was pretty sad. But this day started off then a 51-day standoff, which was at the time on the news all the time. Every day you came home, you were hearing about this. It felt like it went on for 6 months, not 1.5, not 6 weeks, 7 weeks, in the 2 months. But it was a sad day nonetheless. And it begs the question is, are local, not local, but federal agencies, did they overstep their bound in regard to this? Because what it led to was an April 19th second siege when you had military vehicles and more military personnel and a much larger presence of federal agencies surrounding, and they ended up and we will touch on this in a part two in April 19th, but it ended up having a very tragic end to the story. But on this particular day, um, it would look as though the Branch Davidians won because the ATF retreated. But then it goes back to the question previously was, the federal agencies really were, without having proof to serve the warrant, did they have, authority to be able to do this? A lot of people looked at this as this was overbound and overstepping of constitutional elements in regards to active wars on United States citizens, to something as simple as, can we serve this warrant a little bit differently, and a different type of communication, different type, without having to go in fully armed, that could have avoided this conflict on both sides. It was very sad. And could the Branch Davidians had a better in their members and their leader, David Koresh, could they have handled this situation a little bit differently? Gone out and talked, was able to maybe communicate. If they had known months prior, that they were being watched and or investigated, could they have reached out? Absolutely, anything to avoid this conflict, especially the fact that there was children in that complex, and it was pretty reckless on both sides, quite honestly, in my personal opinion. But we'd like to know what your thoughts are. If do you remember this day? Where were you? What were your reactions? And do you feel that one side or the other is right or wrong? And tell us why in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for Saga Media. And this was our quick wrap up on this day in history, February 28th, 1993. 31 years ago, the ATF raided the Branch Davidian complex, which started a 51-day siege. And thank you. And please tell us what you think at the bottom in regards to this. And